Hello viewers, I am K. Devavani, Assistant Professor of Microbiology, Government Degree College for Women, Nalgonda. In this video, I am going to explain a topic on antigen-antibody interactions. In this video, I will explain the general features of the antigen-antibody interactions. First, what is an antigen and what is an antibody and what are the features that exist during the antigen antibody reactions, which includes the physicochemical properties, and the combination again it is dependent upon the two factors, that is affinity and avidity, and what are the stages of antigen antibody reactions and how these antigen antibody reactions are measured and how these reactions are useful for the diagnosis and how many different types of serological reactions that exist. So, let me first explain an antigen. What is an antigen? The antigen and its the factors influencing antigenicity is already explained in the video of antigen specificity. But now we should know that what is an antigen? Antigens are the substances when they enter into the host, they stimulate the production of antibodies and the specific T cells and also react specifically with the products of immune response. Though there are terms like immunogen and antigen are used interchangeably, but antigens are those foreign substances when they enter into the host, they stimulate the production of antibodies or the specific T cells to mount an immune response. Such substances are called as antigens. In this picture, antigens are generally the foreign substances. They have many epitopes on their surface. Epitopes. What are epitopes? Epitopes are the antigenic determinants that are present on the antigen. If this is a bacterial cell, the bacterial whole cell is an antigen, but there are some structures that are present on the surface of the bacterial cell. They serve as an antigenic determinants or they are also called as epitopes. So, these are the structures, they bind to the antibody. The antigenic determinants are the structures which are present on the antigens which can bind to the antibodies. So, the antigens, they contain many epitopes that lead to the stimulation of many antibodies against to the specific epitope. Valency is the number of antigenic determinants and number of epitopes which are present on the antigenic surface to which an individual antibody binds. In this picture, there are many epitopes on the bacterial cell to which many antibodies are attached. So, an antigen contains many epitopes. That means they are multivalent. Multi means many. Antigen contains many epitopes to which an individual antibodies bind. Epitopes are the structures to which the antibodies bind. So, when these substances that induce the formation of antibodies and react with the products of immune response. Such agents are called as antigens. Here, this is a structure of an antibody. Now, moving on to the antibodies. Antibodies are glycoproteins. They are made up of 2 light chains and 2 heavy chains. They are polypeptide chains. So, antibodies are the glycoproteins which would be produced against the antigen. When the antigen enters into the host system, then the antibodies, the glycoproteins will be produced against to the antigen. So, they are the glycoproteins, they are made up of 2 light chains and 2 heavy chains. Antibody generally appears in Y shape as seen in the picture. This is the Y-shaped antibody. It contains an amino terminal end, carboxy terminal end. The yellow region is the amino terminal end, it is the carboxy terminal end. So that amino terminal end has an important role in binding to the antigen, that means an epitope. This is one is an H chain, another one is a light chain. So here 2 light chains and 2 heavy chains. The amino terminal end of H chain and the light chain form a variable region, whereas the carboxy terminal end of heavy chain and the light chain, it forms a constant region, that is called as a FC region. So the antigen, it binds to the amino terminal part. The amino terminal part of both H and light chains, it forms a variable region. So the variable region in the light chain is called as a VL, whereas the variable region in the heavy chain, that is called as a VH. The same here, it is VL and VH. These are the constant regions. C represents the constant. The amino terminal end of both L chain and heavy chain, it forms a antigen binding site, that is called as an FAB region, fragment of antigen binding site. So in the structure of an antibody, the Y-shaped antibody, now it can bind to the antigen or to the epitopes at the Fab region. So an immunoglobulin, it can bind to 2 epitopes. There are 2 FAB regions on an antibody, so which can bind to the 2 epitopes. The area which is binding to the epitope in the antibody is called as a paratope. So the actual interaction is between the epitope and the paratope. Epitopes are present on the surface of antigens, and which are the actual regions that come in contact and bind to the paratope. Paratope is the binding region of an antibody to epitope. So the exact interaction is between epitope of an antigen and paratope of an antibody. But when the binding occurs between this epitope and paratope, the whole antigen and the whole antibody will be involved in the reaction. And there are hypervariable regions. In this variable regions of both heavy and light chains, that is called as a HVR. Hypervariable regions. HVR means hypervariable regions present in the antibody. They show the more variation in the amino acids, so that regions are called as hypervariable regions. So with this, we have an idea that antigen has many epitopes on their surface and they are multivalent. Naturally occurring antigens are multivalent, and when it comes to an antibody, it can bind to the 2 epitopes because it has 2 FAB regions. So it can bind to the 2 epitopes. That means most of the antibodies are bivalent because it can bind to 2 epitopes are the 2 antigens. This is the information about an antigen and antibody that is involved in the antigen-antibody reactions. Hypervariable regions are also called as complementary determining regions. The whole structure of antibody and different types of antibodies are explained in the previous videos. There are 5 classes of antibodies depending upon the heavy chain. They are IgG, IgM, IgA. This is an IgA. In the 5 different classes of antibodies, IgG, IgE and IgD exist as a monomer. But when it comes to the IgA, this is as S. S refers to the secretory IgA. Secretory IgA. It exists in dimer, which are 2 monomers. Dimer is formed by the joining of 2 monomers with a J chain, and whereas when it comes to the IgM, this is a pentamer. it has a 5 monomers which are all joined together by means of a joining chain, J chain. So, these 5 different classes of antibodies have different valency. When it comes to a monomer, that means they can bind to 2 epitopes or the 2 antigens, and pentameric IgM, it can bind to the multivalency, that means it can bind to many epitopes, nearly it is of approximately it can bind to 10 binding sites, it can bind to 10 epitopes or 10 antigens. And IgM is multivalent, IgG, IgE, IgD are the bivalent. This is about the remaining of an antibody structure and an antigen structure. Now moving on to the antigen antibody interactions. Antigen antibody interactions means the interaction between an antigen and antibody. They are called as an antigen antibody interactions. These antigen antibody reactions, they form the basis of immunity against the microbial diseases in vivo. If these antigen antibody reactions they occur in the in vivo, they form the basis of immunity against the microbial diseases. And in vitro, that means in the laboratory conditions, these reactions are used for the diagnostic tests for the detection of either the antigen or the antibody. The antigen antibody reactions are also called as serological reactions. So, these serological reactions are used as a diagnostic tests for the identification of either the antigen or the antibody in the in vitro conditions. The reaction between an antigen and antibody is highly specific. What is the meaning for specificity? That means antigen, it reacts only with the antibodies that are produced against to itself. An antigen, it can bind to the antibodies that are produced against to itself. Specific reaction between an antigen and antibody. Antigen antibody reactions, they involve the specificity, means antigen, it reacts with the antibodies produced by itself. The specificity is not absolute. The cross reactions may occur. Cross reactions occur due to the antigenic similarity or the closely relatedness between the epitopic structure that leads to the cross reactions. The antigen antibody reactions, they are similar to the reactions of enzymes and substrates, because the enzyme substrate reaction is binding is also highly specific in the biological reactions. The same way the antigen and antibody reactions are also specific, but they differ from the enzyme substrate reactions is that there is no alteration in the antigen or the antibody, whereas in the enzyme substrate reactions there is a change in the structure of the substrate that is converted into a product, but such kind of chemical alteration is not seen in the antigen antibody reactions. And here the antigen antibody binding is reversible. It is reversible. It can be prevented or it can be disassociated by high ionic strength and extreme pH. So, these reactions are reversible. Moving on to the physicochemical properties of antigen antibody reactions. The entire molecules, but not the fragments. The entire molecule of antigen and antibody involves in the antigen antibody interaction, but not the fragments. So, the actual binding is between the epitope and paratope, but in the reaction the whole molecule of antigen and antibody will be involved. There is no denaturation of the antigen or the antibody during the reaction. There is no loss of structure, either the function, during the antigen antibody reaction, and the combination of this antigen antibody reaction, it occurs at the surface. So, the surface antigens are that are immunologically relevant. Antibodies to the surface antigens of the infectious agents are generally protective. The combination of this antigen antibody is it is firm but it is reversible. The firmness is influenced by the factors that are affinity and avidity. What is affinity? Affinity is the intensity of the attraction between the antigen and antibody molecules. It is a function of closeness between an epitope and the paratope. Affinity is a quantitative measure. It is for binding strength between an antibody and epitope. Low affinity antibodies, low affinity means weak, they bind weak. Low affinity antibodies, they bind antigen weakly. There is a weak binding with the low affinity antibodies and they tend to dissociate readily, but whereas high affinity antibodies, they bind tightly and they remain bound longer time. High affinity binding is due to the close fit between the antigen binding site, that is the paratope, and the corresponding antigen determinant, that is epitope. The closeness between this paratope and epitope, this is facilitated by the strong non-covalent interactions between the antigen and antibody. Another one is avidity. Avidity is a measure of overall strength of binding antigen with the many epitopes, and multivalent antibodies, that means the strength of bond after the formation of antigen antibody complex. It is avidity refers to the strength of bond after the formation of antigen antibody complex that results by means of the binding of antigen with the many epitopes and the multivalent antibodies. The pentameric IgM, which has a high avidity because it is multivalent, so it has avidity, but it has a low affinity than IgG, because the pentameric IgM has a multivalency, they show high avidity but has a lower affinity. Both antigens and antibodies, they participate in the formation of agglutination and reaction. These antigen antibody reactions, they form an observable reactions either in the form of agglutination, precipitation or neutralization, etc. And antigens and antibodies, they can combine in different proportions because the antigens and antibodies are multivalent. Antibodies are, as explained, they are generally bivalent, though IgM molecules, they have the more combining sites, nearly it is of 10. Antigens may have valencies up to hundreds, that means they have many multivalent, nearly they have the epitopes of hundreds. So, this is about the general features of a antigen antibody reactions. The reaction between antigen antibody is highly specific and it is the entire molecules but not the fragments that they react, and that there is no denaturation between an antigen and antibody during the reaction. The combination occurs at the surface, so the antibodies to the surface antigens are generally protective. The combination is formed and it is reversible. The firmness is influenced by both affinity and avidity. Affinity, it refers to the intensity of attraction between the antigen and antibody, and it is a function of closeness between an epitope and paratope. And affinity, it is a quantitative measure of binding strength between antibody and epitope. But whereas an avidity, it is a strength of bond after the formation of antigen antibody complexes. That is, it determines the overall strength of binding of an antigen with many epitopes and the multivalent antibodies. Both antigens and antibodies participate in the formation of antigen antibody reactions. The antigens and antibodies that combine in varying proportions because antigens have valencies up to hundreds and generally the antibodies are bivalent except the pentameric IgM, which is having the more combining sites. Now, the stages of antigen antibody reactions. The antigen antibody reactions can be observed in three stages. First one is primary interactions, the second one is secondary interactions, and the third one is a tertiary stage. Is an in vitro in the laboratory conditions, the demonstration of antigen antibody involves two reactions. In vivo, it includes three stages, three interactions. The primary interactions, it is an initial interaction between an antigen and antibody without any visible effect. Here the reaction is rapid and occurs at low temperatures, and the reaction is reversible. It is rapid and reversible. The combination between an antigen and antibody is affected by the weak intermolecular forces such as electrostatic reactions, hydrogen bond, hydrophobic interactions, and van der Waals forces. But no covalent bonding is observed in this primary interaction. Primary reactions can be detected by estimating the free and bound antigens or the antibodies by using certain markers like radioactive isotopes and fluorescent dyes. The second one is a secondary stage or the secondary interactions. The primary stage is followed by this secondary stage, leading to the visible events such as in the form of precipitation, agglutination, complement activation or the lysis of cells, killing of antigens, neutralization of toxins, immobilization of organisms, and enhancement of phagocytosis. The antibodies that are causing the agglutination are called as agglutinins, and the antibodies that are involved in the precipitation are called as precipitins, whereas the antigens, they are called as agglutinogens, and the antigens in the precipitation are called as precipitinogen. The covalent bonding is observed in the secondary interaction, and which could be visible in the form of either precipitation, agglutination, complement activation, neutralization, and lysis. Next one is a tertiary stage. It is the antigen antibody interactions which are occurring in vivo. In vivo, these antigen antibody interactions, they initiate the chain of reactions that lead to the neutralization or the destruction of a pathogen or an antigen, or sometimes that leads to a tissue damage, as in the case of hypersensitivity or in the autoimmune disorders. These are all the tertiary reactions, include the humoral immunity against the infectious diseases as well as the hypersensitivity and in the autoimmunological disorders. So, the tertiary reactions will be observed in the in vivo, in the organism. In the in vitro, these primary and secondary interactions will be observed. This is the binding of antigen to the antibody, formation of a lattice that leads to the either the agglutination or to the precipitation. The phases of antigen antibody reactions, generally the antibody antigen reactions, they occur optimal concentrations. That means the antibody and the antigen in the reaction mixture should be equivalent. That is called as a zone of equivalence. On either side of the zone of equivalence, the antigen antibody reactions generally is prevented, that is either in the pro zone and the post zone, the antigen antibody reaction is prevented because of the excess antibody in the pro zone, and whereas in the post zone there is a excess antigen. This zone of equivalence was proposed by Merak to explain the precipitation process. This will be applicable to the agglutination process also. He proposed a lattice hypothesis. This is a formation of lattice. Antigen antibody reaction involves the formation of lattice. He proposed a hypothesis that is called as a lattice hypothesis. Merak, he proposed a lattice hypothesis to explain the antigen antibody reactions. Here the each antibody molecule must have at least 2 binding sites and the antigen must be multivalent. In the zone of equivalence, where the optimum precipitation or the agglutination occurs, the number of multivalent sites of antigen and the antibody are equal. In this zone, the antigen antibody reaction, it leads to the precipitation because of the random and reversible reactions, and it forms a stable network of lattice in the optimal concentration, that is called as a zone of equivalence. As they combine, as antigen and antibody combine, that results a multimolecular lattice that increases in size until it forms a precipitate or agglutinate in the solution. The 3 phases of antigen antibody reactions that would be observed in the precipitation and agglutination reactions, that is the first one is a prozone. It is an excess antibody. Here it leads to a failure of visible reaction. It is due to the inhibition of lattice formation by the excess antibody. And the other one is a zone of equivalence. Here the antigen and antibody are in optimal portions, so it leads to the formation of a network of lattice and visible reactions are enhanced in this phase. There is another one, that is a post-zone phenomena, and this is caused by a presence of excess antigen in the test serum. No visible reaction will occur. So, prozones and post-zone, there is no visible reaction will be observed due to the presence of excess amounts of either the antibodies in the prozone or the antigens in the post-zone. This lattice hypothesis was proposed by Merak in 1934 to explain the mechanism of precipitation, and that would be applicable for the agglutination also. Uses of antibody tests. These serological reactions or the antigen antibody reactions are useful in the diagnosis of infectious diseases. The diseases which are caused by the organisms which are difficult to culture them in the media, such as syphilis and viruses like hepatitis A virus. When these infectious agents they enter into the host, that leads to the formation of antibodies. The serum can be used for the diagnosis of the pathogen. So, diagnosis of infectious agents, that means it in here the organisms which are difficult to culture can be observed by serological reactions, and the organisms which are too dangerous to culture like rickettsia. Another one is for some pathogens the culture techniques are not readily available. So, in such conditions also serological reactions are useful, such as HIV and EBV. EBV means Epstein-Barr virus. Some microorganisms they take too much time, they take much time to grow, and in such conditions also these antibody tests are very helpful. These serological reactions are also useful in the diagnosis of autoimmune disorders. Autoimmune disorders are those disorders in which the antibodies are produced against the self antigens. They are called as autoantibodies. So, the autoantibodies are produced against the DNA in SLE, that is a systemic lupus erythematosus, and even that is in the rheumatoid arthritis, that is another condition of autoimmune disorder in which rheumatoid factors are the anti-IgG, that is antibodies to the human IgG will be produced. So, those antibodies, autoantibodies will be detected by using serological reactions. Another one is a determination of blood group and HLA type. The known antibodies are used to know the blood grouping of an individual and the RH factor of an individual, and here the known antibodies are used to know the 1 and class 2 molecules before the transplantation. Class 1 and class 2, they are the HLAs, human leukocyte antigens, are the major histocompatibility molecules that are present on the tissues. The known antibodies are used to type them, and that would be used before the transplantation of a tissue or an organ. And the serological reactions are helpful in the epidemiological screening. In the epidemiological screening, that help the identification of an infectious agents and the non-infectious antigens, and also these reactions are helpful in the screening of the population for a particular infection. In general, these antigen antibody reactions are used for the detection and the quantification of either the antigens or the antibodies. There is one more, measurement of antigen antibody reactions. The antigen antibody reactions are measured in terms of either mass or in units. Commonly the units are used, that is, a titer is used, the term. The titer means it is the highest dilution of a serum that gives a positive reaction in the test. Is the highest dilution that shows an positive reaction in an observable manner in the test, then that is called as a titer. The titer of the serum is influenced by antigen, that is the nature of an antigen and quantity of antigen and the type and conditions of the test. These titer, this observable reaction is influenced by the nature and quantity of antigen and the type and conditions of the test. The two important parameters of serological tests are sensitivity and specificity. Two important parameters of serological tests are sensitivity and specificity. Sensitivity refers to the ability of the test to detect the antigen or antibody even in minute quantities. The sensitivity refers to the ability of the test to detect the minute quantities of either the antigen or antibody, whereas specificity, it refers to the ability of the test to detect the reactions between the homologous antigens and antibodies. Here, because the antigen antibody reactions are highly specific, that specificity is in the test, the ability of the test to detect the reaction between the antigen and antibody, homologous antigen and antibodies. So, in general, the sensitivity and specificity of a test are inversely proportional to each other. The antigen antibody reactions in the in vitro condition, they are called as serological reactions. The serological reactions, they are widely used for the detection of either the antigen or the antibody, and they are also used for the detection of autoimmune disorders and typing of blood group antigens and the tissues for the transplantation. Examples of such antigen antibody reactions and the types of such antigen antibody reactions are precipitation. Antigen antibody reactions, they result the formation of precipitate, agglutination, and here in this interaction the antigen antibody reaction, it forms an agglutinant clumping formation, and here in this antigen antibody reaction the complement is also involved, so that is called as a complement fixation test. Neutralization, here either the virus or the toxins can be neutralized. There are other techniques in which the labeled antibodies are used, so they are also called as secondary labeled antibody techniques, that include the fluorescence. If the antibodies are tagged with fluorescent compounds, then those reactions are called as immunofluorescence reactions, and if the antibodies are tagged with the radioactive isotopes, then the reactions are used for the assay, they are called as radioimmunoassay. And the other one is ELISA, this is an enzyme linked immunosorbent assay. Here the antibodies are labeled with the enzymes. So these are all the different types of antigen antibody reactions that are used in the diagnosis of different infectious pathogens. I will explain all these types one after the other in the coming videos. Thank you for watching this video.